Welcome to the module on developing reports. In this lesson, we will learn how to create reports in Apex. My name is Apurva and I am a Senior Product Manager for Oracle Apex. Let's get started. In this video, you will learn the different types of reports in Apex and the different ways of creating these reports.
A report in Oracle Apex is the formatted result of a SQL query. You can generate the SQL query by selecting a table or view in a wizard or by defining the SQL query manually. On the screen, you can see the different report types: the interactive report, interactive grid, and classic report. Now on this screen, you can see examples of faceted search, cards, and smart filters. The main difference between the different types of reports is the extent and the way in which end users can customize the appearance of data through searching, filtering, sorting, column selection, highlighting, and other data manipulations. You learn more about each of these report types in the upcoming videos. Let us look at some of the capabilities of different reports. Now, when viewing an interactive report, end users can customize how and what data to display. You choose an interactive report if your requirement is end user customizations. On the other hand, an interactive grid presents users with a set of data in a searchable and customizable report. In the editable interactive grid, users can add, modify, and refresh data directly on the report. Plus, the end user has the ability to rearrange the report interactively using the mouse. You choose an interactive grid if your requirement is to allow end user editing and refreshing directly on the report page along with the end user customization of the report. If you do not need any of these customizations or built-in search bar and drill down capabilities, then you can choose a classic report. Apex allows you to create reports by running a wizard or by dragging and dropping the region type in the page designer. App Builder includes built-in wizards that enable you to generate these reports. Using these wizards, you can create a report when you create a new database application, create as a new page in an application, or create a report region on an existing page in an application. Let us now quickly review the steps involved in creating a report using the Create Application wizard. First, on your workspace homepage, click on the App Builder icon and click on Create. Select New Application and enter the application details. Then click on Add Page. In the Add Page dialog, select a report of your choice. Enter the page details like name, source, and type. Finally, accept the defaults and click on Create Application. Now let's go ahead and see how to create an interactive report or a classic report using the Create Application wizard. On the screen, you can see that I have opened my Apex workspace. To create a new application, go to App Builder and click on Create. Select New Application. Then click on Add Page to add a report page. In the Add Page dialog, you can select a variety of reports such as cards, faceted search, interactive grid, interactive report, and classic report. For the purpose of this demo, I'll choose interactive report. In the Add Report dialog, enter a name for the report page. Select an icon to display in the navigation menu for this page. Select the source for the report, either a table or a view or a SQL query. What you select determines what displays next. For this demo, I'll select table or view, and then you have a choice to select the type of report that you need, either an interactive report or a classic report. For this demo, I'll accept the default selection of interactive report. Now, select the table or view. I select table which already resides in my database, and optionally you can select the include form checkbox to include a linked form page to enable users to maintain the table values. Finally, click on Add Page. Accept the other defaults and click on Create Application. Run the application. Therefore, in this demo, you learned how to create an interactive report using the Create Application wizard. Now you can create the same report using the Create Page wizard. Let's see how that is done. Go back to your application homepage and click on Create Page. The Create Page wizard supports reports such as Interactive Report, Interactive Grid, Classic Report, Faceted Search. Now select the type of report. I'll select Interactive Report. Then follow the on-screen instructions to create the report. You can choose to create the report with the form. So enable the include form page and provide a name for the form. Choose the data source. Here I accept the defaults of local database and the table and select the same projects table. You can choose the preferred navigation and click on Next. The primary key is selected by default from the table. You can also add a secondary primary key column. Finally, click on Create Page. Now, a new page is added to an existing application and we can run the page to see that an interactive report is created as a new page. Since we enabled the form, you can see an edit icon next to each record. Clicking on that will open a drawer form where you can edit the details of the record. You can also create a new report region on an existing page in an application. To show you this demonstration, I am going to create a new blank page. Projects 3. So first, I am going to show you how we can drag and drop a report region onto the layout. In the Gallery menu, under Regions tab, select Interactive Report. Click and hold the mouse and drag it to the desired location in the Layout tab. When the mouse is over the appropriate location, the Layout tab displays a darkened yellow tile. Now release the mouse to drop the region. The Page Designer indicates what actions are required next. The Messages tab displays a red or a yellow badge indicating the number of messages you need to address. Then you can click on each message and edit the attributes in the property editor. We need to select a source table name for the interactive report region. So from the list of tables, I select projects and then you can provide a title for the region. Click on Save. Save and run the page. So here you can see that we created an interactive report on an existing page. Let's go back to the page designer. Now, another way of adding the report region is to right click on the body in the rendering tree and create a new region. Select the new region and in the property editor, you can change the type to interactive report. Provide a title and address the errors. We need to provide the table name. Select the appropriate table for the report and click on Save. You can also add the interactive report from the gallery menu using the context-sensitive menu. In the Gallery tab, under Region, select the region that you want, for example, Interactive Report. Right-click on that and it shows a context-sensitive menu. Then you can go to Add To and select the region in the layout where you would want to add the report. Let's run.
Welcome to the module on developing reports. In this lesson, we will learn how to create various reports in Apex. In this video, you will learn how to create an interactive report, an interactive grid, and a classic report.
You were introduced to interactive report in the Apex Foundations course. What is an interactive report? An interactive report is a formatted result of a SQL query. Both the Create Application Wizard and the Create Page Wizard support the creation of interactive reports. You choose a table on which to build a report or provide a custom SQL statement or a PLSQL function, returning a SQL statement. Note that end users can customize the report layout and the data displayed by selecting options on the Actions menu. You can restrict the capabilities of interactive reports available to the end users, such as disabling download or support for hiding a column. Let's go ahead and create an interactive report. I have a sample application open for the purpose of this demo. We already reviewed creating an interactive report in the previous video. So to recap, let's click on Create Page. Select Interactive Report. Enter the details such as the page name, and enable the Include Form page if you'd like to enable editing. For the data source, I am going to select the local database table. Choose the preferred navigation and click on Next. Select a primary key column. I accept the default and click on Create Page. Let's save and run the page. When viewing an interactive report, end users can customize how and what data is displayed. By default, the interactive report includes a search bar, an actions menu, column heading menus, and edit icons in the first column of each row. Using the options on the Actions menu, users can alter the report by hiding or exposing the columns, applying filters, sorting, aggregating, adding computations, adding control breaks, and highlighting certain records. You can also add charts, group by, and a pivot. Once customized, the end users can save the report as either a private report or a public report. What is an interactive grid? An interactive grid presents users a set of data in a searchable, customizable report. Functionally, an interactive grid includes most of the customization capabilities available in the interactive reports, plus the ability to rearrange the report interactively using the mouse and keyboard. Both the Create Application Wizard and the Create Page Wizard support the creation of interactive grids. Now let's go ahead and create an interactive grid. I have the application homepage open in my workspace. I'm going to use the Create Page Wizard to create an interactive grid. Enter the interactive grid details such as name. You can choose to include a form page, or since interactive grid allows users to edit on the fly, this will not be necessary. Select a data source. Here I select a local database table. And you have an option to enable editing enable. Enabling this option will allow the users to edit the data in the database table from the interactive grid. But if you enable editing on a view that is not updatable, then the interactive grid generated will fail when users try and update the records. Select a navigation preference and click on Next. Select a primary column. I'll accept the default column and click on Create Page. Let's save and run the page. You can see that the interactive grid is displayed. Note that interactive reports generate all the HTML markup on the server as part of the Apex page. The data returned from the SQL query is rendered along with all the other markup that makes up the UI, the toolbar, the dialogues, and everything. The client-side behaviors are implemented in a single monolithic JavaScript module. In contrast, interactive grid does all the HTML rendering on the client. The server provides the data in JSON format. Now, the unique feature of interactive grid is that the user can lock or freeze the rows. The users can lock, hide, freeze, filter, highlight, sort individual columns, create control breaks on specific columns using the Actions menu, Users can also directly customize the appearance of an interactive grid. The users can use the mouse and drag and drop the column at the desired place. Once customized, the report can be saved either as a private report or a public report. You can even add a new row which adds a new record into the database table. You can edit the values in the grid directly. and finally click on Save to save the changes. Finally, let's talk about classic reports. A classic report is the formatted result of a SQL query. Developers choose a table on which to build a report or provide a custom SQL statement or a PLSQL function returning a SQL select statement. With the exception of sorting and simple filtering, end users cannot customize a classic report. Now let's go ahead and create a classic report in the Apex workspace. I have the sample application open in my Apex workspace. From the application homepage, click on Create Page and select Classic Report. Enter a name for the classic report. You can choose to include a form page along with it and select the data source. Choose the navigation preference and click on Create Page. Let's save and run the page and see how it looks. Here you can see that the classic report is displayed and it has no option to search or filter. You can only sort this column by clicking on the column heading. Since we did not include the form page, there is no option to edit the record as well.
To summarize, in this lesson, you learned how to create an interactive report, an interactive grid, and a classic report. I hope you learned something useful. Thank you for watching. Welcome to the module on developing reports. In this lesson, we will see a continuation of creating various reports in Apex. Let's get started. In this video, you will learn how to create smart filters, faceted search, and cards in Apex.
Faceted search is often seen on e-commerce or sales websites. The end user can set filters using facets on the left or upper side of the screen. A facet shows possible values together with the occurrence count within the result set. When an end user changes a facet, the results, the dependent facets, and the occurrence counts refresh immediately. On the screen, you can see a classic report of the projects table on the right and the facets related to this table on the left. Let's review the steps involved in creating a faceted search. On your application home page, you click on Create Page and select Faceted Search. Specify the page attributes, select the data source for the page, select your navigation preference, and then you need to select the Faceted Search display view as either reports or cards. Select the facets to include on the page. Finally, click on Create Page. Now let's switch to the Apex workspace and see a demo on how to create a faceted search page. I have a sample application open in my workspace. So to create a faceted search page, I click on Create Page and here I select Faceted Search. Specify the page attributes, name, the data source. Select a data source for the page. You can create a faceted search page for tables and SQL queries, for local database, REST-enabled SQL service, and the REST data sources. For table, I select the projects table. For navigation, select your preferred breadcrumb and navigation and click on Next. Now, for local tables, Apex maintains a dictionary cache containing information about the table columns, foreign keys, and the actual data. Based on this cache, Apex can propose appropriate facets and then create them automatically for you. Select the facets to include in the report. Here, I leave the default and select all the facets. Facets display as checkbox facets for each of the columns which are grouped so that it looks like a single facet. Facet recommendations are based on statistics of data in your table. Click refresh to refresh the column statistics to provide better recommendation. Then finally, click on create page. Let us save and run the page. Here you can see a faceted search page features a faceted search region and a report. The search region is displayed on the left side of the page and enables users to narrow down the search result by selecting the facet values. Narrowing the search result makes it easier for users to find the desired data. The right side of the page features a search results region which can be displayed as a classic report or cards report. Now let's take a look on cards. A cards page features colorful blocks which resemble index cards laid out on a page. A cards report region declaratively supports customizations of layout and appearance and the inclusion of icons, badges, media, and actions. Use cards to embed and share media sourced from a blob column, URL, or video in an iframe. On the screen, you can see an example of a cards page built on the projects table. Each card can display a variety of information pulled from the columns in the underlying table. Both the Create Application Wizard and the Create Page Wizard support the creation of cards. Now let's go ahead and create a cards region in the Apex workspace. Now I have a sample application open in my workspace homepage. To create the cards page, I click on Create Page and select Cards as component. Enter a name for the cards page. Select the data source. I'm going to select a local database table called projects. Enter the preferred navigation and click on Next. Here you can choose from a different cards layout. I'll accept the default grid layout and you can edit the title column, body column, icon initials column and batch column. I'll accept the default values and click on Create Page. When you click on Save and Run Page, you can see the projects laid out in tiles and each tile has information about the project title and the task name. Now we can edit these card attributes further. To do so, click on Edit Page. Select the card regions by navigating to the rendering tree, and under Body select the cards region, and then in the Property Editor on the right, click on Attributes tab. Here you can edit all the cards attributes. The attributes are segregated into groups and you can either filter the group by entering the group name here, which will filter the group for you, or you can click on this down arrow and select a group that you want to edit. Let's go ahead and edit some attributes. So I'll add a subtitle column as task name and I'll change the body column as status. Under media, you also have an option of advanced formatting. Advanced formatting option enables support for HTML expressions and supported substitution strings. Now this advanced formatting option allows all free-form text attributes such as CSS classes, icon or image description or badge label support column substitutions through standard substitution string syntax. I'm going to enter an advanced formatting HTML expression. Here I've used a substitution string for start date, end date, budget and cost. Now click on save and run the page. Here you can see that the cards are updated. To display a title and subtitle, here you can see the advanced formatting HTML text that we entered. You can even you can customize these cards further by adding an icon, badge and so on. A smart filter page features a single search field with filters at the top of the page and a report at the bottom. Each filter is displayed as a suggestion chip with a single count of how often the specific suggestion value occurs. You can create a smart filters page with either the Create Application Wizard or the Create Page Wizard, or you can add a smart filters region to an existing report in the Page Designer. On the screen, you can see an example of a smart filters page built on the projects table. Let us see a demo on creating a smart filters page. I have the sample application page open in my workspace. Here I'll click on Create Page and choose Smart Filters as the component. Enter a name for the page. Select a data source for the page. You can create Smart Filters page for tables and SQL queries. For local database, REST enables SQL service and REST data source. For this demo, I'll accept the default local database table option and select a table name called projects. Select the navigation preference and click on Next. For display as, you can either choose to be displayed as a report or cards. Select the filters to include in the report. Filters display as suggestion chips, filters in the drop-down list or optionally on the More Filters list at runtime. Filter recommendations are based on statistics of data in your table. You can click on Refresh to refresh the column statistics to provide better recommendations, and then click on Create Page. Let's save and run the page. Here you can see the suggestion chips that are displayed beneath the search field. Selecting on one suggestion chip will automatically filter the report below. While a smart filters page behaves similarly to a faceted search page, it features a more space-efficient layout. Clicking on the filtered suggestion chip will display the values of that column, and you can further filter the names. For example, you can see that the values are updated accordingly. Now let's say I want to add a new smart filter. To do this, I'll edit the page. Now let's assume that the status filter is missing and we want to create the new filter. To do so, locate the filters region in the rendering tree. Right-click on filters, select Create Filter. Ensure that the new filter is selected and update the attributes in the property editor. So I'm going to enter the name as status. For type, I'm going to accept the default checkbox group. Under list of values for type, select distinct values. Under source, ensure that the database column is status. Click on Save and run the page. The new filter is displayed along with the other smart filters.
To summarize, in this lesson, you learned how to create a faceted search, cards, and a smart filter in an Apex application. I hope you learned something useful.
Welcome to Oracle Apex Developer Professional Course. My name is Taufeeq. I'm Senior Product Manager for Oracle Apex. Using interactive reports, you can display your data in a two-dimensional tabular format having rows and columns. It is called interactive report and not simply report because with interactive report, you can interact with the data in the form of applying filters, creating charts, applying highlighting, etc. In this module about customizing your interactive report as an end user and as a developer, you will learn how end users can customize an interactive report using the Actions menu. You will also learn how you as a developer can customize your interactive report. Additionally, you will also learn how you can save the customizations in your interactive reports in the form of a public report or a private report. In this first lesson, you will learn about various components available in interactive reports that can help you customize. You will also learn how to search for data in an interactive report by applying filters. Let's get started.
Interactive report has various components using which the end user can customize the interactive report. Some of these components are link to custom target, using which the end user can link to another page in your applications or can link to a single row view. The search bar, using which the end user can search through the data available in the interactive report. Saved reports. This is where all the reports created by the end user are displayed and the end user can choose the report he wants to view from this drop down. Column heading menus. The column heading menus in interactive report are also loaded with a lot of features like sorting, freeze, hide, etc. Interactive reports also have Actions menu under which there are various options like columns, filter, data, format, etc. using which the end user can format or can customize the interactive report. Using the search bar available in the interactive report toolbar, end users can search for information in an interactive report. To perform a search in the entire interactive report, enter your search criteria in the search field available in the interactive report toolbar and click Go. A filter is applied on the report and all the rows that contain the search criteria are displayed. In the example you see on the screen, the interactive report displays all the rows which has the term discussion. You can also search for information within a specific column in an interactive report using the Select Columns to Search icon available to the left of the search bar. This drop-down displays all the columns available in the interactive report. You can select a column and then enter the search term to search information within that particular column. For example, on the screen, the search is being performed on the project column available in the interactive report. Once the search term is entered in the search bar and you click on Go, the interactive report applies filter on the data available, this time searching only the project column for the search criteria.
In an interactive report, using the Columns dialog under Actions menu, you can control
which column should be displayed in the interactive report and in which order the column should be displayed. To select columns to display, click on Actions menu and select Columns option. And this opens the Columns model dialog. Here you can shuttle the columns between Do Not Display and Display and Report sections. You can also reorder columns using the up and down controls available beside the shuttle item. Once you're satisfied with the configuration, you can click on Apply,
which then refreshes the report applying the selected configuration.
You can create two types of filters in an interactive report. The first one is column filter, using which you can apply a filter on a specific column available in the report. The second one is the row filter, using which you can apply a custom filter on an entire row. Let us have a quick demo of what we have learned so far in this lesson. What you see on the screen is a simple interactive report which is displaying data from projects table. So what you see here is the search bar wherein as an end user you can search for specific key terms, and when you click on enter the data in the grid will be refreshed and all the rows that contain this search term develop are displayed in the report. Now this is a row-based search. You can also search for data in specific columns by using the select columns to search button and selecting the column you want to search. For example, when I select description, as you can see, the placeholder in this search bar is now displaying search description, and now when I type the term develop, now the filter will be applied only on that particular column. Only the rows where the description column contains the search term develop are displayed on this report. This is how you as an end user can search for information in an interactive report. You can also select which columns should be displayed in the report and which columns should not be displayed in the report using the columns option available under actions menu. When you click on the columns option, it opens the select columns dialog. Here you have a shuttle item wherein you can move all the columns you want to display in the report to the right hand side. And for example, I don't want to display the created by, updated and updated by columns in the report, so I can move them to the do not display section and click on apply. And now as you can see, those columns are hidden from the report view. Not just that, using the columns option, you can also reorder the columns in this report. For example, I want to move the name column to the top, and then comes the description column and then the status column. Using this columns dialog, I can also reorder the columns in the report. And when I click on apply, the columns are displayed in the specified order. This is how you can use the columns dialog to hide and display columns as well as reorder columns in the interactive report. Coming to the second option available under actions menu is the filter option, using which you can filter the data in the report. Here you have two options. You can either filter based on a column or you can apply complex filtering conditions on an entire row. For example, if I want to filter all the columns where status is equal to, let's say, so I can click on the list of values available for this column and select in progress. And now when I click on apply, the report will be refreshed, displaying all the rows where the status column is equal to in progress. And I can also apply a row-wise filtering. For example, I want to filter the columns where the status column is equal to in progress and the budget column is greater than or equal to 30,000. So this is how I can apply a complex search. The interactive grid refreshes, showing only the rows where the status column is in progress and the budget column is greater than 30,000 as per the filter that we have applied. This is how we can apply filters on a specific column on an entire row in interactive reports using the filter option available under actions menu.
To summarize, in this lesson, you have learned how to use interactive report components to customize your interactive report. Welcome to this module on customizing your interactive report as an end user and as a developer. In this lesson about customizing your interactive report as an end user, you will learn how to perform sorting and aggregation of data in your interactive report. You will also learn how to create a compute column and perform flashback query on your interactive report using the data submenu available under actions menu. You will also learn how to format your data by applying control break, and using the highlight option, you will also learn how to highlight certain rows or cells in an interactive report using the format submenu available under actions menu. Let's get started.
End user can also select column sort order using the Actions menu available in the Interactive Grid toolbar. Under Actions menu, under Data submenu, there is an option called Sort. When you click on that option, the Sort dialog box appears. In this dialog, the end user can select the column, direction of sorting, and how should the nulls be considered in this sorting. Once the sorting order is defined, user can click on Apply to apply this sorting underlying interactive report. You can also create an aggregation against columns in interactive reports. To do that, go to the Data option available under Actions menu and select Aggregate. This opens up the Aggregate dialog. Here, you can select the function and the column on which you want to apply the aggregation function. Once this is done, click on Apply to see the aggregation being calculated for that particular column. Another option available under Data menu item under Actions menu is adding a computed column. To do that, go to Data menu available under Actions submenu and select Compute. This opens up the Compute dialog. Here, you can give a name to the new computed column and provide the computation expression in the text box available. Once that is done, click on Apply to see the new computed column added to the interactive report. End users can also perform a flashback query on the interactive report by selecting Flashback from the Actions menu. In the Actions menu under Data submenu, there is an option called Flashback. When you click on that, the Flashback dialog opens up. Here, you can mention the flashback duration in minutes and then click Apply. As soon as you click Apply, the interactive report will be refreshed showing the data that existed, for example, 5 minutes ago. End users can group one or several columns available in interactive report using the control break option available under Actions menu under Format submenu. On clicking on the control break option, the control break dialog box appears. Here, you can select the columns and enable the control break option for that particular column. Once you're done, click on Apply to apply the control break settings on the underlying interactive report. End users can also customize the display of interactive report by highlighting specific rows in a report based on a condition. To do that, you can go to Actions menu and select Format submenu and click on Highlight from the available options. This opens up the Highlight dialog box. Here you can give a name to the highlight you're going to apply and select whether it's a row type highlight or a column type highlight. You can also specify the background color, text color, and see the preview of how this would look once it is applied. Under highlight condition, you can specify the condition based on which this highlight will be applied. You can specify the column, operator, and the expression value. Once you're done, click on Apply, and this will highlight all the rows or columns based on the highlight condition specified in the highlight window. Let us have a quick demo of what we have learned so far in this lesson. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to first sort the data using the sort option available under Actions menu under Data submenu. Now click on Sort. The Sort dialog box appears. Here I can sort the data. For example, I want to sort the data based on budget and in descending order. I can also specify how I want the nulls to be treated. I'll go with the default behavior, and I can also apply second sorting condition. For example, I want to have the task name to be sorted as ascending wherever they have same budget, and once the sorting configuration is defined, I can click on Apply, and the interactive report will accordingly sort the data. You can also apply control break. For example, I want to apply control break on the assigned to column. I can do that by going to Actions menu, go to Format and apply control break. Here I can select the column, which will be the assigned to column, and click on Apply. So this will present the data in a group by fashion wherein all the tasks are grouped by the assigned to attribute. You can also apply control break using the control break option available in the column header menu. So when you click on the column header, you get the column header menu, and here you have the control break option, and you can also apply control break on a column using that option. Additionally, I can also apply aggregate To do that, I can go to data and click on aggregate. Here I want to perform an aggregation on the budget column for each project, and I click on apply. And here you can see the summation of all these budget values for each task under this project is shown here. Similarly for other projects as well. This is how you can apply aggregation in an interactive report. Additionally, I can also create a computed column in this interactive report by going to Actions menu and click on Data and select Compute. Here I can specify the column label for the new computed column, for example cost analysis, and I can specify the computation expression, which will be the difference between budget and cost. I can also specify the format mask and click on apply. Now you can see the cost analysis column, which is a computed column, being displayed based on the computation expression we have specified. Additionally, you can also highlight specific rows and cells in this interactive report using the highlight option available under Actions, Format submenu. Here you can specify whether the highlight type should highlight the entire row or a specific cell. I'm going to go with cell option, and here I can specify the background color and the text color. I'm going to leave the text color black, and I can specify the highlight condition, and here the condition will be status column is equal to closed. So I want to highlight all the cells of status column where the status column is closed, and click on apply. And you can see the highlight being applied accordingly in the interactive report. I can also change this to be a row type highlight by simply changing the highlight type to row. Click on apply. Now the entire row is highlighted. Now to demonstrate the final concept, the flashback query, what I'm going to do is I'm going to update this record in the backend. So now the cost is 200. So I'm going to go to that record. This is that record. I'm going to make it 300 and apply changes. Now when I go back to the report and refresh the report, now you can see the cost is updated. Using the flashback query, what I can do is I can go to data and click on flashback, and I can flashback the report to, let's say, 10 minutes into the past. I click on apply. Now I can see the report data is now being presented as of 10 minutes ago. This is how you can perform a flashback query on top of an interactive report to see the data as of n minutes ago. And when I clear the flashback that I have applied, I get to see the current data from the database.
To summarize, in this lesson, you have learned how to sort and aggregate your data in interactive report. You have also learned how to create a compute column and how to perform a flashback query using the data submenu available under Actions menu. You have also learned how to format your data by applying control break and how to highlight certain rows and cells in an interactive report using the highlight option available under Format submenu under Actions menu. Hope you have learned something new. Thank you for watching. Welcome to this module on customizing your interactive report as an end user and as a developer. In this lesson about customizing your interactive report as an end user, you will learn how to create charts based on the data in your interactive report. You will also learn how to create a group by report and specify group by sort order. Additionally, you will also learn how to create a pivot report. With all these customizations made, you will also learn how to save these customizations as a private report or a public report. You will also learn how to reset your report to the default report settings using the reset option. Furthermore, You will also learn how to download the report to your local device or send the report as an attachment in an email. You will also explore various options available under column heading menu. Lot of ground to cover. Let's get started.
You can create charts in an interactive report using the chart function available under Actions menu. Go to Actions menu and click on Chart to open up the chart dialog box. Here you can select the chart type and the label and the value columns. You can also specify the axis titles for label and value columns. You can specify the function and set other chart specific settings in this chart dialog. Once you're done, click on Apply to create a chart view in the interactive report. This also creates a toggle control in the interactive report toolbar, using which you can toggle between the report view and the chart view. End users can group sets of results by one or more columns with the group by function and then perform mathematical computations against these columns. You can create a group by report by going to Actions menu and selecting Group by option. This opens up the Group by dialog box. Here you can select a column based on which the report gets grouped by. To add additional columns, click Add Group by Column. In the slide, you see the column selected is Project column. You can also specify a function and the column on which this function gets applied. You can specify the label for this new metric that is being calculated and the format mask. On click of Apply, the report gets refreshed, applying the group by aggregation based on the selected settings. After creating a group by report, you can now specify group by sort order to sort the group by report based on various columns. To do that, click on Actions menu and select Group by Sort available under Data submenu. When you click on that, Group by Sort dialog opens up. Here, you can specify the column and the direction of sorting you want to apply. All the columns available in the Group by report are available for selection in this dialog box. Once you click on Apply, you can see the data being sorted based on the Group by Sort definition specified. In this example, the total cost is being sorted in descending order. End users can also create a pivot report. Pivot reports transpose rows into columns to generate results in a cross-tab format. You select pivot columns and rows and then provide the functions to be represented in the pivot report. To create a pivot report, you can go to Actions menu and select Pivot. This opens up the Pivot dialog box. Here you can specify the pivot column and the row columns and the functions based on which the data will be displayed in the pivot report. In this example, status column is selected as the pivot column and project is selected as the row column. And the function is count on the task name. This new metric being calculated will be labeled as task count. Once you're done with this configuration, click on Apply to generate the pivot report. The slide example here shows a pivot report that displays the number of closed, on hold, open, and pending tasks associated with each project. After doing all the customizations that we have discussed so far, end users can save these customizations as a report. To do that, you can go to Actions menu. Under Report submenu, you find an option called Save Report. This opens up the Save Report dialog box. Here, end users can specify a name and also specify if this report should be available publicly to all users by checking the public checkbox and then click on Apply to save the report. The saved report can be accessed from the select list next to the search bar available in the interactive report toolbar. End users can also reset a report back to the default settings. Resetting a report removes any customizations you have made. To reset a report, go to Actions menu and expand Report submenu. There you can find the reset option. You can then click on Apply to reset the report to default settings. End users can also download an interactive report by selecting the download option available under Actions menu. When you click on the download option, the download dialog appears. Here you can select the report format in which you want to download and click on download to download the report to your local device. The column heading menu in interactive reports is loaded with a lot of features. By clicking a column heading in an interactive report displays the column heading menu. Positioning the cursor over each icon displays a tooltip that describes its function. Column heading menu options include sort ascending, using which the report can be sorted by the column in ascending order, sort descending, using which the report can be sorted by the column in descending order, hide column, using which the column can be hidden, and control break, using which you can apply a control break on this particular column. Let us have a quick demo of what all we have learned in this lesson. What you see on the screen is an interactive report displaying project and corresponding tasks in the project. It also displays the cost column and the budget column. So what I'm going to do on this report is apply customizations as an end user. So the first customization I'm going to apply is creating a chart on top of the data in this report. To do that, you can click on the Actions menu and go to Chart. This opens the chart dialog. Here you can select the chart type. The available options are bar chart, line with area, pie chart, line chart. I'm going to go with the bar chart. For label, I'm selecting project and I can also define access title for label. For value, I'm selecting cost column and the access title for value would be total cost. And what I want to display is the sum of cost for each project. And I click on apply. This will refresh the report and displays the chart based on the configuration I have just configured in the chart dialog. I can also choose to have a different orientation. I can change the orientation to horizontal and also change the sorting order. If I want to display the chart in a different sorting order, I can select the sorting order from the sort attribute here. I'm leaving it default and when I click on apply, now the chart will be in a horizontal orientation, displaying the total cost for each project. And when you hover, you can see the label and the value. You can also toggle between the report view and chart view using this toggle available here. And the second customization I'm going to talk about is the group by function that is available under Actions menu. Using the group by function, the end users can group the data based on one or more columns and then perform mathematical computations like average, sum, etc. on top of these columns. In this demo, I'm going to group this report based on project and I want to show the sum of cost and the label will be total cost. I can also apply format mask for the total cost. I'm going to go with a simple format mask here and I also want to display the sum to show the sum of total cost of all the projects. And when I click on apply, I get this report displayed showing the total cost of each project and the sum also is displayed here. I can also choose to add more functions. For example, average, budget, and I'm going to give a label and use the same format mask. Click on apply. This is how I can group by various columns on this interactive report and then perform different mathematical computations like sum, average, etc. The next customization end users can do is sorting on this group by chart. So once the group by is applied, if you go to data, here you get an option to perform a group by sort, using which you can define in which order you want this group by chart to be sorted. I can sort the underlying group by report based on the columns available in this report. So the columns here are project, total cost, and average budget. For example, I want to sort this first by total cost in descending order and click on apply. This will sort this underlying group by report based on the configured group by sort. The next customization I'm going to talk about is the pivot report. Using the actions menu, end users can also create a pivot report on top of this interactive report data. Using the pivot option available under actions menu, end users can create pivot reports. Pivot reports are reports where rows are transposed into columns and the result set is presented in a cross-tab format. When I click on the pivot report, it opens the pivot dialog box. Here I can select what should be my columns in this pivot report. I'm going to go with the status being shown as columns, and I can also select the rows, and I want the rows to be project, and here I can define the function. For example, I can perform count on the task name to display the number of tasks in a given project having a specific status, and I'm going to call this task count and click on apply. So this is the pivot chart with the columns showing the statuses and the rows showing the projects, and here is the function counting the number of tasks in this project having status as closed. So this is how you can present the data in a cross-tab format using the pivot function available under actions menu in an interactive report. Now the next customization available for the end users is saving a report. So once all these customizations we have discussed so far are applied on this report, for example, let me add some customizations like control break, and highlighting, and the cost is less than, or I would say greater than or equal to 1500, for example, and apply. With this report defined, now as an end user, I can save this report by going to actions menu, and under report submenu, I have save report option. When I click on that, I get the save report dialog wherein I can give a meaningful name to this report. I'm going to call it my report. Not so intuitive, but works for this demo. And I can also provide a description to explain what this report is all about. And depending on whether or not the developer has enabled end users to save public reports, this checkbox will be shown. And when I click on this checkbox, this report will be saved as a public report visible to all other end users. And when I click on apply, this report is saved as a public report, and I can also click on my report and change the name or make it private, for example. And now it's listed under private report and will only be visible to the creator of this report. That means it will only be visible to me when I log in with this account. Once I have made these changes and saved it as a report, I can go back to my primary report, and the primary report also have, and if I want to go back to the default settings wherein I don't have all these customizations, I can click on actions menu, go to report and click on reset. This will reset the report to the default settings. You can click on apply and the report will be reverted back to the default settings. If I toggle back to my private report which I just created, this is the customizations which I made, and I can again go back to my the primary report which does not have any customizations. Now as an end user, if I want to download this report to my local device, that is also possible. I can go to actions menu and here I have an option called download. When I click on that, the download dialog opens. Here I can choose a report format, the format in which this report should be downloaded in. I have CSV, HTML, Excel and PDF formats available. I can also choose to send this report as an email instead of downloading it to the local device. Here I can specify the to address, CC, BCC, subject and body which will be sent. along with this report attached to the email. For now, I will just downloading this report to my local device as a PDF and click on download. As you can see here, the report has been downloaded to my local device and I can click on this report to view the report. Also worth mentioning here is that some of these customizations are also available under the column heading menu. Using the column heading menu, you can sort the data in ascending or descending order, or you can hide the column. For example, if I want to hide the end date column in this report, I can click on the column, which opens up the column heading menu. Here I can sort and I can hide. I can click on hide this column and this column will be hidden from the report. If I want to bring back the column, I can go to the columns menu here. As you can see, the end date is now under do not display. I can just simply bring it back and bring it up, apply, and the column is back. So you can also use the column heading menu to make some of these customizations in your interactive report as an end user.
To summarize, in this lesson, you have learned how to create charts on top of your data in an interactive report. Welcome to this module on customizing your interactive report as an end user and as a developer. In this lesson about customizing your interactive report as a developer, you will learn how to use the region attributes available in Page Designer to customize your interactive report. You will also learn how to enable or disable the actions menu and how to save these customizations as default report settings. You will also learn how to control various download options available in interactive reports. Furthermore, you will also learn how to control whether or not end user should be allowed to save public reports, and if allowed, who should be allowed to save public reports using authorization schemes. Let's get started.
As a developer, you can change the way an interactive report is rendered to end users by editing the region attributes. To edit region attributes in Page Designer, you can go to the page containing the region and select that region in the rendering tab. Once you select that region, the property editor on the right hand side displays all the region attributes available for the selected region. You can also search for specific attributes using the filter text box available on the top of the property editor. Once you're done with your changes, you can click on save to save and run the page to see the changes in action. As a developer, you have the flexibility to modify an interactive report's source. If the interactive report is fetching the data from a table or view, you have the flexibility to define from which table the interactive report should be fetching the data. If the interactive report is using a SQL query, you have the flexibility to modify the query, add more columns, add where conditions, whatever complex queries you want to add, you can do that using the SQL query attribute available for the region. As a developer, you can also edit interactive report attributes from the Attributes tab available in the Property Editor. Interactive report attributes control how a report works. You can use these attributes to configure pagination, create error messages, configure the search bar action menu, and download options, control if the end users have the feasibility to save the report. You can do many more things using various attributes available in this Attributes tab. One such customization you can do using the region attributes for interactive report is customizing the search bar. Search bar is available as a property group under attributes. Under this property group, you have options such as include search bar, using which you can define whether or not the interactive report should display a search bar. You have search field toggle, using which we can define whether it should display a text field in the search bar to enter the search criteria or not. You can also use the finder drop down to define whether or not user should have the flexibility to search for specific columns using the search bar. And you also have an option to define whether or not reports select list, which displays all the available reports for the user, should be displayed to the user or not. And there are other options like rows per page, search button, label, and maximum rows per page available under this property group. You can also customize the actions menu. The actions menu appears to the right of the go button on the search bar in an interactive report. End users interact with the actions menu to customize how the report information is displayed. Using various options available under actions menu property group under attributes, you can define whether or not you want to include the actions menu for the interactive report. You can also define controls within the actions menu. For example, if you want to hide sort option, if you want to prevent the users to be able to create charts on the interactive report, you can do that by simply toggling off the chart option under actions menu in the attribute section. Using these toggles available under actions menu, you can customize the actions menu in interactive reports. Another attribute you can control using the attributes section is the download option. You can specify whether or not download should be allowed for a given interactive report, and if the download is allowed, you can also specify which formats should be allowed and the authorization scheme. Using the attributes section, you can also manage the link column. Using the link column, you can link a row in interactive report to a single row view, or you can link to a custom target wherein you can open a different page to display details about that particular row in interactive report, or you can also choose to exclude the link column using the exclude link column option. And you can also specify how you want to identify the rows uniquely, either by using row ID or unique column. Using the links column available under attributes, if you have specified in the links column to link to a single row view, when you click on the icon available in the link column, you will be navigated to a single row view. In a single row view, you get an option to view the entire row in a key value format. You can go back to the report view using the report view link available at the top of single row view. And you can also navigate through the rows in a single row view by clicking the previous and next buttons available on the top right corner of a single row view report. As a developer, you can also change the printing attributes available for interactive report. Printing attributes such as page orientation, font attributes for the page header, columns and column header, or page header text and page footer text. All these attributes can be customized using the printing tab available in the property editor for interactive reports. As a developer, you can also save all the customizations you have made on an interactive report as a default report or a named report. So when you click on Save Report under Actions menu, the Save Report dialog box opens. Here, as a developer, you have an option to save the report as a named report or as default report settings. When you go with the default report settings, you have an option to either create this report as a primary report or as an alternative report. When you select alternative report, additionally, you can also give this alternative report a name. And when it comes to the named report, that is similar to the private reports which end users create, which we have already discussed in the previous lessons. Once you have configured the default report, either primary or alternative, you can click on apply, and that report will now be available in the report select list for the end users. Let us have a quick demo of what we have learned so far in this lesson. What you see on my screen is an interactive report. Again, the same interactive report we have been using in the previous lessons. It contains the project's data, and here I have a developer session attached in the adjacent tab. That's why I'm seeing the developer toolbar here. So let me quickly edit this interactive report region by clicking on the quick edit option and selecting region, and this will take me to the interactive report region. This is page designer, and here you see the report region is already selected. On the right hand side in the property editor, you can see all the properties that defines this region. The source property group has the location from which the data is being fetched. It can be local database, or you can also fetch data from REST enabled SQL instance or from an external REST data source. The type can be a table, SQL query, or a function body which is returning a SQL query. And here you mention the table owner, which particular schema does this table belong to, and you mention the table name. Here I am using the projects table. And there are other attributes like order by clause, where clause, wherein you can define the where clause and the order by clause for this interactive report. And page items to submit in case your view or the table or the SQL query that you have defined here in the source depends on page items, or if you want to submit those items to the session whenever this report is refreshed, you can mention those page items here in page items to submit. So that way the report query always uses latest value of these page items from the client. I'm going to concentrate on this source property group here. I have selected table because the type is table of view. I can also change this to SQL query, which gives me a lot more flexibility to edit a SQL query. Here now I have an option to write complex SQL queries. This is particularly used when you want the report to display data from multiple tables. In that case, you would have a query which is joining all these tables and returning the result set. Or if you want to have a complex where condition on top of this SQL query, you can add this where condition here, for example, and click on OK and save and run this report. Now only the records which have the cost value greater than 1000 are displayed. This is how you can use the SQL query attribute under source for the interactive reports to have data displayed from complex SQL query. Some of the other attributes for this interactive report are available under the attributes tab, which can help you customize the interactive report as a developer. So the first attribute you see here is the link attribute, using which you can define whether this interactive report should have a link column. Sometimes you can just exclude the link column, or you can provide a link column to custom target, which I'm doing in this case, or you can link to single row view. For example, you see this is linked to a custom target, and the target is defined to be page number 5, where I'm passing the ID to a page item in page number 5. That is why you see this edit icon here, which is actually a link, and when you click on that, it opens page number 5, passing in the ID, which in turn fetches the data in this form. So this is being driven by this setting here. You can also choose to select single row view, and that way when you go back to the report and refresh, you still get the icon, but when you click on it, you will be presented with a single row view of the data in that report. Let us revert back to custom target. And if I scroll down, I have something called appearance, wherein I can define show null values as attribute, using which you can define what should be shown in the columns where the value is null. For example, if I write a hyphen here, all the columns where the value is null will be replaced with the hyphen instead of showing an empty cell. This is defined by this attribute. And under pagination, you can define the pagination type, which includes none to not display any pagination. Or if you select row ranges X to Y of Z pagination type and click on save, let's see how this looks like. If I refresh this page, on the bottom right side, you can see the pagination type has changed, showing the range of total records. You can also choose to use row ranges X to Y, which only shows the row ranges instead of the total records. And you can also choose the display position. Right now the default is bottom right. If I want to show it on top right corner, for example, I can select that and I run this report. Now you can see the pagination is shown on the top right corner, and this is particularly useful when you have a long report and you want to show the pagination at the top always. You can also enhance performance using the attributes in the performance group. For example, you can enable lazy loading for the interactive report by checking this lazy loading toggle. So using the lazy loading option, the interactive report is loaded without the data, and then a separate request is sent to load the data. You can also specify maximum rows to process, using which if you can limit the number of rows that should be shown in the interactive report. In case the report query is returning rows greater than the maximum rows mentioned here, we can show a custom message defined in the messages section under when more data found. Speaking of messages, we can also define what message should be shown when no data is found in the grid. For example, let me go back to the where query and write a query wherein I don't get data for this demo. And when I go back to attributes and messages, here I want to say no projects found, and I click on save and run this interactive report. You can see the custom message being displayed here. Additionally, you can also customize what to include in the search bar under search bar property group. For example, if you don't want to include search bar, you can simply toggle it off. And when you refresh the page, this is how the interactive report looks without the search bar. And if I enable the search bar, I get further customizations possible. For example, I can choose to not show the search field but have the search bar. That way, if I refresh, I'll get the search bar wherein I have the reports and the actions menu available, but I don't have the search field, and I can toggle to have the search field but not have the finder drop down. That way, I will have the search field but I won't have the column finder drop down. So this gives you greater flexibility as a developer to customize what should be included in the search bar and what should not be included in the search bar. You can also choose to have rows per page selector and define the search button label. I can also define maximum rows per page. I'll make it 5. Click on save and run the page. So here we can see the search button label is now search projects, and I'm getting maximum rows of 5 for each page. I can select rows per page option here, so this way I can select how many rows I want to see in a single page. And I can use the arrow mark here to navigate through pages. This is how you can customize the search bar and other options that you get in the search bar. Similarly, you can also customize the actions menu and various options available in the actions menu. If you don't want to include the actions menu, just toggle the include actions menu off and you won't get the actions menu. And within the actions menu, you can also customize at a more granular level as to which features should be available in the actions menu and which features should be disabled. For example, if I want to show the actions menu but not give an option for the end user to create charts, I can simply toggle this off. And now in the actions menu, I don't get the chart option. We have also discussed about end user getting the option to save public report. When this option is off, end user will not get an option to save a report as a public report. And when this option is on, that is when the end users will get the option to save a report as a public report. I can also choose to have an authorization scheme which defines which users should be able to save public reports and which users should not be allowed to save public reports. Scrolling down, the other property group here is the download property group, using which you can define under authorization which users should be allowed to be able to download the reports and which users should not be allowed to download the reports. And you can also define which format should be made available for download, and using the send as email option, whether or not the report can be allowed to be sent as an email. If I toggle this off, for example, and go back to the report and refresh the report, now when I go to actions menu and click on download, in the download dialog, I won't get the send as email toggle. I just have the option to download the report now. So this is how you can customize what options should be available under download dialog. You can also choose to have the heading fixed to page or region. For example, if I choose region, I can define maximum report height 200 pixels as the report height. Now I don't have to scroll down to see the entire report. So with this settings defined, if I refresh the page, the report is limited to 200 pixels height and I get a scroll like this, which makes it easy to view all the data, and a scroll on the report is shown.
To summarize, In this lesson, you have learned how to use the region attributes to customize the interactive report as a developer. You have also learned how to enable or disable the actions menu and how to save the customizations as default report settings. Additionally,